Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, or good tomorrow morning for our friends in New Zealand and Australia. So,
Happy
yes.
weekend.
So, happy weekend. Happy weekend fits it all, yes. Though I did notice, I did check, I've got this little, I think I've showed this before, my little app on my phone that shows what time it is, everyone. And it says it's 10 o'clock now in Perth, Australia. So Perth is still today. It's just the eastern part, Melbourne, Sydney, and the eastern part is tomorrow.
Australia, doesn't they have 7 time zones, I think, to contend with?
It's something like that.
Yeah,
I thought it was 5, but it might be 7. But we have Melanie and
they will tell us.
yes, I think and Amanda as well. Yep, we've got both Melanie and Amanda here, so they will let us know how many time zones exactly Australia has. But yeah, Melanie was first in with the comment "spoopy ween," which I have no idea what that means. So please enlighten us.
I thought you said spooky ween, as in spooky and Halloween.
As in spooky Halloween, yes.
Yeah, I'm in the spirit of things.
Right. Well,
Thank you.
I mean, could that be an autocorrect mistake, or does it actually mean something? I don't know. And then she went on to talk about, or no, and Fiordalisi just talked about seeing something in cricket. I recognize many of those words, but the whole context is baffling to me. I have not learned how to follow cricket, so that's kind of funny. But who else do we have here? Rick Cleland is here from Southern Ontario. And we have, and then let's talk back and forth. John Tyner is here. Judith Fry, Lisa Gervais, another fellow Canadian. Let's see. Tia is here. Hi there, Tia. And Fiordalisi, as I'd mentioned, of course. And then I have to scroll down to all the comments. Okay. Okay, come on, Judith and Judy. Judy Stutz. Judy Stutz is scrolling by quickly here. Joke VV1. Who's Joke? Yoke. Of course, Yoke from the Netherlands. How you doing, Yoke? It's been a while.
Yeah. Nice to have you back.
Yeah. That's great. Chris Ferriolo, of course. Hey. From Chris. And then we have Patricia Jackson from Kentucky. Chris Wine is here as well. Tommy Buck is here. People are coming in. It looks like their YouTube handles instead of their regular names is showing up.
Yeah. Well, that's always the way.
Is it always the way?
Yes. Yeah, it is.
It seems to me that it's a little more cryptic than it has been sometimes. Lewis Kessler is here from Winnipeg. Go Jays! Yes, I think the Blue Jays won last night, didn't they? Game 1 of the World Series. Oh, hi, cousin Judy. Steve Moore, Guildford, England. Yes. Azure is here joining us. Thanks. Terry Burke from Columbus, Ohio, and he says, "Hey, Denise."
Terry. My neighbor.
Your neighbor. Nice. Okay. Melanie agrees with me that the names are not the way we usually see each other. Okay. I'm not just crazy. I mean, sometimes I am, but this time I'm not. Just changed by, thank you. Thanks, you two, for changing that. Doris Lanier from Indiana. Excellent. They're good. Chris's comment about the Blue Jays. As birds, they may be jerk birds because they're kind of bullies, right? In the bird feeder.
True.
But good baseball players. 11-4. Woohoo! Wow, this is pretty exciting. I have not paid, $8,000 to go get a Blue Jays ticket, so I will just have to be watching it from the TV. It is crazy what they're charging now, or what scalpers charge. Anyways. Great day. We have a special guest, David Randall, and we have someone doing double duty today because Denise is not only hosting, but we're also celebrating Denise because she's the WikiTree member of the week. So, but we will celebrate you later and put you to work sooner. But first, I'm going to turn it over to Betsy.
All righty. With our question of the week. Let me just get that going. Okay, so I knew that this was going to be a happy one because who doesn't like getting a prize, an award, and
Yeah.
recognition? And we had 40 answers. And in just a really interesting range. I kind of suspected it would be, but athletic, scholastic, military, professional, and the professional ones really ran the gamut as within the subcategory. Popularity awards.
Oh,
A skill at a very sort of niche sort of thing, but you're the best at whatever. Arts, music, theater, architecture, and finally service was very inspiring. So let's take I tried to get organized. Let's see if I was successful. So my favorite athletic one and selected as the best answer was WikiTree George Hastings.
ooh.
Won first place in the 85 and over age group for the Richmond Marathon.
Ooh.
That is impressive.
Truly.
Wow.
Truly.
Yes.
Yes. Congratulations, George. So I hope that was a good trophy or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is so impressive.
Yeah. Chris Ferriolo, who's with us, he gave us a list of the military honors in his family, which was there were a lot of them, including a Purple Heart for his grandfather, and medals. And I actually did not know that there were so many different kinds of names for military awards, not only in the Americas, but also in other countries, until reading some of these answers. Very interesting. He also writes, on the non-military side of things, my dad received many dental awards during his time as a dentist, and even became head of the New Hampshire ADA, American Dental Association. After his term was up, he was awarded a presidential chair that now sits in the dining room.
Nice.
And is enjoyed by the cat. So,
do we have a picture of that chair anywhere?
Yes, Chris, get on that.
Yes. Post that to the profile.
Let's see. Darlene Athey Hill said that, now this is super cool. Her grandfather was an early airplane pilot. His name was Justin McEnany. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. He was one of the original members of the Quiet Birdmen, and an international organization of pilots, and his commercial pilot's license was signed by Orville Wright. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that is neat.
The inventor of the airplane signed his pilot's license.
Yeah, I hope somebody still has that.
Yeah. You wouldn't recycle that one.
Yeah. Amazing.
And then Alexis, this was an interesting one. We've learned a lot about Alexis's ancestors over the years as she shared, and she said that her grandmother Pearl was one of the early settlers in Oklahoma as it became a state in 1907. And that they were trying to build the culture of the state, and so this newspaper in 1910 had a contest for young ladies in the county to help them build their subscription base. And so her grandmother was the one who got the largest number of people to subscribe. And she got 135,905 votes.
Wow.
So there's her picture there down in the upper right-hand corner.
Oh, neat.
And for her effort, she won a piano and a ring.
Wow,
that's very cool.
Yes, Alexis still has the ring. So yeah, big contest is over.
Big contest is over.
Oh, that's so cool. Let's see. Oh, John Tyner said that his maternal grandfather received a CBE medal from King George VI for services during World War II. And so, John, let us know. I mean, do you have the medal? Who has the medal now? And then he also had some athletic awards, honors. He had a third cousin in the Olympics, and he had a great aunt who won a contralto singing competition and went professional after that. Okay, moving on to the next page. We always love pictures. Anyone who watches the Roundup knows that we love pictures. So Chris Klein shared this gorgeous painting. Do I need to make it bigger? Can we see it?
We can see it okay. I mean, if you want to make it bigger, that's not bad. Can you click on it and just, okay.
Well.
Oh, okay. There we go. And then you lose it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, luckily it was sort of near the top.
That's, yeah.
Yeah. And so this was a painting by her mother, and it was won Best of Show at the Stark County Fair. It's really gorgeous.
Yeah.
And Chris said that Chris knew on Friday, but she had to keep it secret until Tuesday. So I don't know how she knew about it early, but that's really that would be hard to keep under wraps.
And is it Russian? Was it painted in Russia or by, like, it looks like a Russian icon with the,
I know. She says the painting was painted before 1890 and was blessed by a metropolitan in Russia. Maybe Chris, who I know is in the chat, maybe she could give us some more details on that. And then Chris herself has won several blue ribbons at the Stark County Fair, from everything from gourds to photography. So I know that those contests are a big deal for county fairs. That's a lot of fun. Susan Ellen Smith said that her husband won an Emmy Award at the Rocky Mountain Award ceremony, and it was for musical composition. So very neat. There are two that I want to highlight that I'm probably going to have to go back and do a Control F for them. But let's look at, I thought this, now in terms of professional honors, this just warmed my heart. Eve Mays said that her late mother received a genealogy award.
Cool.
Yeah. She was a prolific genealogy publisher, edited a weekly magazine called Family Puzzlers. That's a great title for genealogy. Cool. Plus 2 quarterly magazines for 15 years each. Maybe that's the Georgia. That's how I read it an hour ago. And the Carolina Genealogist. Plus, she researched, edited, and published over 200 titles of genealogical research books under her business heritage papers. And she received a Lifetime Achievement Award, which sounds very well deserved, in 2010. And then another one in 2019, and an award from the Athens Historical Society in 2017. So she specialized in the southeastern U.S. Wow. That is
print. Yep. They're still in print and for sale on Amazon.
Yes. Search for her full name to find them.
Yeah.
Mary Bondurant Warren. Yes. Thank you very much, Eve. And then Scholastic. Of course, there are always Scholastic honors. And we did have Jessie Harris, who let us know about her spelling bee, which she said it may not be a big deal to everybody, but it was really special to her. And she, I mean, there was a movie about spelling bees.
Yeah.
Aquila and the Bee.
Thank you. Yes. And I know that there are, there's national competitions every year, and they broadcast them on TV. It's a big deal.
It is.
So Jessie, don't downplay that. And she advanced at least to the district level for herself. So that's
Awesome.
Yeah. Oliver Stegen wrote that in the 80s, the Chemical Industry Association in Germany awarded a book prize to the best graded chemistry exam in every German high school. So in 1987, when he graduated, he was the only student in the entire class of 69 to take a chemistry exam. So he got the book prize.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that book was Molecular Biology of the Cell.
Wow.
I can just envision the cover of that.
Oh yeah, and the excitement of receiving it.
Yes. So that sat on his shelf largely unread, and so he passed it on to his second daughter when she graduated from high school, and when she went to med school, she made good use of it. So remarkably, he said it's remained the standard textbook all those years. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Right.
All right. I want to find two more. Rod Corkum. There. Corkum. Nope, he's not on that page. And Kim Laird. No, they must both be on page 1.
Control F is a wonderful thing, though.
Yes, it sure
Yes,
is.
it is.
Corkum. There is Rod. So this is, I'm not sure the relationship, but Dr. Alice Lucretia Ernst, 1861 to 1945, born in Nova Scotia, but educated in Pennsylvania. She joined the Women's Union Missionary Society of America and sailed for India in 1889. Wow. She was one of the pioneer missionary doctors of India, where she served for 42 years. So a maternal second great aunt to Rod. So she received, in recognition of her services, she was head of a hospital in Jhansi, India, and she received the Kaiser I Heinz Medal of the first class from the hands of King George V of England.
Wow.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was super cool. And I guess I can just talk about Kim's, because I actually have notes here, and I copied over what she wrote. She said her grandfather Dewey won quite a few awards, but one of the more unique ones was being honored by the Chippewa tribe of Mount Pleasant, I think, Michigan. I think I got that from later context. My mom, his daughter, told me he was given this honor by the tribe for honoring Native American artifacts, teaching people the history and traditions of the Native people of Michigan. So, yeah. So I knew this would be a good question of the week.
Yes.
Neat.
Very inspiring.
Very inspiring. There's some neat comments from from people watching online. So Yoke said that her grandfather didn't have a driver's license. So when he had at the 40-year jubilee at his work as a gardener, they made him a lawnmower driver's license.
Oh, cute.
I think that's great. Thanks, Yoke, for sharing that. And Rick says, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No.
Okay. Rick has a first cousin who is a quadruple Olympic champion in athletics.
Wow.
Awesome.
So that's pretty impressive. Melanie answered our question. There are 5 time zones in Australia. So thank you for clarifying that. And then Anne Sfiordalisi says that her uncle died in World War II, got a Silver Star and a Bronze Star for helping a French village from the Germans. And there are a few others, but those are the ones that jumped out at me that I thought I'd share.
Did we hear from Chris about the background on the painting?
I don't think so. Well, wait a second. Was that Chris Wine?
Chris Wine.
Yes, in Russia. Okay. There we go. Thank you. Antique contest. I'm not sure what the antique contest was referring to, but
well, maybe. I mean, it was at a state county fair.
Right. Yes. Okay. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, the painting was done in Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Super. Okay.
Cool.
Are you going to talk about the ancestors?
Sure, I can do that. Let's see. We had 4 today. Let me go back. Share screen. Type screen. So celebrate your ancestors. And I did watch last week. I missed you guys last week.
Oh,
And
we missed you too.
yeah, loved hearing about all of the ones you've talked about. And Denise, I'm so glad you could talk about your grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. We have a few. Kim Laird said that her grandparent. Let's see. Her grandparents? No, her second great grandparents from Norway were married on October 30th. So they have a wedding anniversary coming up this week, about 150 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And she actually knew their son, who was her great grandfather. He was an amazing man. And how lucky to know a great grandparent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I told you guys this. One of my students, we were chatting, what did you do this weekend? She said, well, we visited some family and I played my flute for my second great grandmother. And I said, what? I'm like, you got to ask her questions.
Yes.
Poor child. She was like, okay. Let's see. We have now. This was interesting. Oliver Stegen. These are his wife's grandparents, Eric and Louise Mueller, and he gave us some interesting facts. But first, look at that beautiful wedding photo. Lots of detail there. Anyway, they both share I wonder if that was her maiden name as well. He said they both share the last name at birth. I guess so. I guess they were both Muellers. Germany's most common name with 750,000 people, almost 1% of the population having it. So that is their Smith, I guess.
Right. That's right.
And Eric was first called Gerhard, but his father died when Eric Gerhard was very young, only 2. And so he moved into a household with a new guardian, and there were already several Gerhards there.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, you're going to be Eric from now on. Yeah. And apparently the 2 of them dated for quite a long time before getting married in their 30s. And the reason for that was there were some people who didn't want them to get married.
Mm-hmm.
And so Oliver said they waited until these were overcome, in part through death of some objectors.
Oh my.
Now, Sheila Morrison said that her father was born on October 22nd in Inverness, 1910. And so she has a photo of him on his profile page. It was his graduation picture, and he was a chemistry lecturer and also volunteered in a specialist gas detection squad. She also has, so October 7th, 22nd, there must be something cosmic in their DNA in that family, because her son was also born on October 22nd.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. And then she has her third great grandfather was also born on October 22nd in 1790 in Fife. And he was a sailor who was really difficult for her to track because he kept moving from port to port around the Scottish coast. So every census, he was in a different place.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at that photo. Oh, that is a really nice one.
Where does that hanging from his
I
tie?
know. It's like a fur tie.
Well, it looks like a.
Why is it at that angle though? A tie would just.
Yeah. I don't know.
When you graduate, you have those the hoods
Yes.
that often have the fur line. I wonder if that's
Oh,
Well, and
does it
also,
look like a graduation gown he's wearing?
right,
Yes.
this was in Scotland, like say I'm going to put it at 1930 because it's graduation. So I don't know if the details would.
I think it's probably the hood that I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Either
That-
that or he just jumped from a plane in a parachute and that he had a fur-lined parachute that was
it got caught up on his bow tie.
exactly, yeah.
Or that. Or that.
Or that, yes.
Thank you, Sheila.
Yes, thanks, Sheila. And then let's see. Oh, this is from Chris Ferriello. He said she's not an ancestor. This is Aurora Hamill, but I think she was the daughter of his second great grandparents. So that means she would have been cousins with Chris's great grandparent, one of them. And her story took her back to Canada. So. Yes, Chris's family is in Massachusetts, Haverhill, and she married a man in Amesbury, Massachusetts, and then they moved to Canada for undisclosed reasons, settling in Nova Scotia. They tried to stay in touch with the Massachusetts family, but it's hard when there's distance. So he did end up meeting a descendant of Aurora on Facebook. And so he said he found out later that this descendant was already friends with my aunts and uncles on Facebook before I met her there. I felt a little late to the party, but you know what? You got there. So
Yeah.
that's the important thing. And he said, what's interesting here is that Aurora's name tends to alternate between Laura and Aurora for some reason. Well, I can totally see that. So sometimes these names do change, and we have a nice photo of Aurora. Oh, pretty lady.
Nice.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing her with us, Chris, and happy birthday to Aurora.
Mm-hmm.
Betsy,
Yes.
I have an answer for you on that fur trim.
Oh, excellent. What is it?
It says the fur lining is trim on an academic hood or robe, which was and still is part of traditional university regalia in Britain and Commonwealth countries.
Okay.
Not an animal skin stole or fashion piece, but a symbol of academic rank or degree.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for researching that.
We don't have that in the U.S., which is most of us didn't figure it out. Greg got it.
Yeah, I saw it. It was just the angle was kind of weird. It's like instead of over your back, right? Like,
Right.
yeah. Very cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. So Denise, we're going to put you to work first.
It's no work at all
I
because
know,
I'm here talking with David today. So that's no work at all. David, again, I appreciate you being able to come and join us today.
Not a problem.
And I don't know how many folks know, but David is such a busy man around WikiTree. Not only is he a project leader on the Notables project, but he's also a leader on the Global project. And today we're going to be talking about some folks that combine with both projects. You got two broad projects handling notable laureates, or those folks that have won the Nobel Peace Prize. Or not just peace, I'm sorry, the Nobel Prize. Yeah,
that's right.
They're Nobel laureates. They've won recognition. Take it away, David.
Yeah, so the theme this week was chosen by Abby with the connection checkers, and Global and Notables have joined in to provide some extra challenges and activities to go along with the theme. It's not a formal project or sub-project, Notable Laureates, but it is a We do have a free space page that lists at least the Nobel Peace Prize winners right now. But we do have a member who is independently working on creating a page for the scientists. I'm not sure what the status is on that. I was not able to check in, but he's very enthusiastic about science, and he's getting all that gathered together. The thing with the Nobel laureates is they come from all over the world, particularly the Peace Prize and the Literature Prize.
Mm-hmm.
The science prizes tend to come from the more developed countries. But even there, you get Chinese, you get Russian, so we get a lot of individuals beyond just the United States, England, West Europe, Canada. We get some pretty, I call them genealogically obscure countries. They're not necessarily obscure as a country, but when it comes to doing genealogical research, not only is it difficult and the records are hard to find, but it's hard to even find any kind of training or guidance. You know, if you want to do German research, there's a ton of books out there. There's websites. There's all kinds of stuff that tells you. But if you want to do Malaysian research, there's nothing out there that tells you how to do that. So you're kind of on your own. But that makes it difficult for a site like WikiTree because we want to get these international people up, but most of us are not experienced with a lot of these countries. So that's an increased challenge. But if anybody's followed along with the global project and some of the things we've done in the past, 2 years ago we did the 15 Nations tour, and that's where we went through it. It was for our 15th WikiTree anniversary, and it was every 3 weeks, but approximately every month. We picked another random country, and we picked 15 notables from that country and figured out how to do how to do the research. And that was the point, was none of us on that team had any clue what we were doing. Every month we'd draw that random country out of a hat and start from scratch, figure out how to do it. And I was amazed how much how good WikiTreeers are at figuring things out.
Mm-hmm.
It was we had, as I said, we had Malaysia, we had let's see, what was that, Argentina, Panama, some African nations, I think Kenya was one. And time and time again within that month we'd have typically about 10 of our 15 notables connected. And the trick is to figure out who in that family went to America or went to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
There was one particular one that I recall was a Malaysian chieftain, and we have a picture of him, and he's got, it's a classic stereotypical African native kind of picture with the headdress and all of that. The picture's from 1850, I believe. And one of his daughters married the chieftain of another tribe. This is in Malaysia. And that chieftain became head of the country, head of Malaysia. I don't know if he was the president or what his position was. Oh, actually, he was a king, actually, in Malaysia.
Ooh.
But when he was a prince, he went to school in England, and he met a woman there and married her. And when he finished school, he could not bring her back with him because the Malaysians didn't want an English queen. So they divorced. And she met another man who was an American in England doing work for the government. But he was from Oklahoma. So here I started out with this chieftain in Malaysia, and now I'm in Oklahoma doing census research. And we got him connected. And I think it's really cool. I show people this all the time when on our, who are you connected to gizmo that we have. And that you can see how I'm connected to this 1850 Malaysian
King.
chieftain, and, and the king as well.
Yeah.
But it just really shows you how we really are all connected. And then tying that back into this week, we've got these Nobel laureates. If anybody has seen this week's challenge, I forget the number, but we've got maybe 20 or so. Actually, I think it was more than that. I think it was 38 unconnected Nobel Peace Prize winners, only the Peace Prize. But 38 that have profiles, but they're not connected to the tree. And there was only one American, and I think 2 from England, possibly 1 or 2 from England. No Canadians. So those 3 countries that we're all, not all, but most of us are pretty familiar with doing research are off the board.
Yeah.
The rest of them are all from all over the world. I mean, you've got people that you'll be familiar with. You've got the Dalai Lama. You've got Mother Teresa from Albania.
She wasn't connected?
She's not connected because most of us don't know how to do Albanian research.
And she didn't have children, so you can't connect that.
Yeah, she doesn't have a family going forward.
Right.
So that makes it more difficult. So you're going back into war-torn countries. And some of these have small CC7s where we've got the parents, maybe even the grandparent, but getting back to a great grandparent or aunts and uncles and all those that you need to make that connection. And as I mentioned, the king who had the American schooling and that, when you get these high-powered people, they tend to, at some point, get to the United States or get to England, get to Western. But a family like Mother Teresa's, who were basically peasants, they never married an American or broke out of that. And the thing is, this is the issue isn't so much the family; it's the fact that WikiTree is created by Americans and Western Europeans, and that's who they put on the tree. So when you get a country like, let's say, India, we don't have a lot of Indian profiles to connect it. So you can get a pretty big family tree. I saw one, I don't know if anybody's seen these statistics, but we have a tree that has over 5,000 individuals that is not connected, or a branch, I should say. They're from Peru, the ones that I saw. I don't know how far out of Peru they expand, but there are some pretty massive branches that we haven't connected because that part of the world just isn't, what's on WikiTree at this point. But that's what we're trying to change. So when we do a project or a challenge like the Nobel laureates, there's a few reasons why we put the focus on these these notables. But even if we don't get them connected, if we can get their CCC up to whatever, every time you forget the fame of the person. Every time you add a relative, you're expanding that tree for that country, and somebody else may come along and have a connection that they wouldn't otherwise have. So we use the celebrity status of the notables to make it a little more fun. But when it comes to genealogy, they're just a leaf on the tree, just like anybody else.
Right.
And as soon as you get to the parents or the brothers and sisters, you're just dealing with regular people who, although I'm going to qualify that because they're not always regular people. I was just surprised to learn 10 Nobel Prize winners were the children of Nobel Prize winners.
Wow.
The Marie Curie family has a husband and a daughter and a son-in-law that all 4 won Nobel Prizes. They've got 4 in their family.
Wow.
And that's something I find over and over again when we're doing movie stars and actors, and they have a sister that was an actress and a brother that was an actor and a cousin that was, and they definitely married, actors marrying actors, and you've got those whole things going on. or a musician, a famous musician, and then you find the other family members might not have been famous, but the mother sang in the choir and the father was a music teacher, and it's these.
Mhm.
I don't know how much is genetic and how much is just the upbringing and the culture. But I know in my family, for example, person after person is either a teacher or a career that's similar to teaching. I was never a teacher, but I do a lot of educational business training and that kind of stuff. So my career has always been about teaching, even though I've never been a school teacher.
Right. I was going to say the exact same thing, David, that teaching is very similar. You get lots of teachers begetting teachers, marrying teachers. And the other occupation, at least in my family, is nursing. My mother and all of her sisters were nurses. And their children, many of my cousins were nurses.
But you think you get military families?
Yeah.
You get, medical, like you said, the nursing, but also, doctor. You have a doctor, and you trace straight, and his father was a doctor, and his uncle was a doctor. Yeah. So, or ministers.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, but I was surprised that 10 people that won Nobel Prize whose parents already did. It tells you something about that whole family, really.
Yeah.
And then there's just it's not just the interest in the subject, but sometimes you'll find people that maybe they're very successful in their career. Maybe they're a doctor, but they have a brother who's a lawyer and a cousin who's a professor somewhere, and so the success tends to be there's a standard. I guess you'd say like a value. Maybe this family has a real value on education, where another family maybe is on hard work and labor, and but it definitely tells you that there's something in the culture of that family that's intriguing to me. And then of course you got the opposite side, where you have a famous person, you search their tree, and it's all kinds of scoundrels and stuff and that one that just kind
You're
of
talking to politicians?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Which is another one where you see family.
Awesome. Yeah, that sort of strengthens the argument. Is it nature or nurture for some of the kids growing up? Is it their environment and what they're around and what they're influenced by? So that's always interesting to see and to learn about when you're reading through some of the stories here on WikiTree.
And when I'm doing these notable profiles, it just always fascinates me. The stories of where did they come from? What one of the things we'll see sometimes when we pull up a bio that somebody has written a while back, and it'll have this long section about their career, and they forget the before and the after and everything else. I've told this story before, but when I first got involved with notables, when I was brand new on WikiTree, I created a project for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which is now the Disney project. But because I had met the woman who did the voice of Snow White when I was a kid, and so I thought that'd be interesting. But then I thought, who are the Seven Dwarfs? Who played those? And they were, and again, the fascinating stories. They were all vaudeville performers, and this was real early show business time. But some of them went in and did. Pardon?
Did each of the Seven Dwarfs have a speaking role?
6 of them did. There was one that did not, but yeah, 6 of them.
I don't think Bashful spoke.
There you go.
No, it was actually Dopey that didn't.
Oh, Dopey. Okay.
But yeah, each one had an actor that played, and they were big name actor at the time. They're not so much people we know now, but silent film stars and that. But the thing is that they spent, maybe a month on the film. They went in, they did their lines, and then they went about their business. Their life was much more than that 30 days they spent in the studio recording a voice. That's what we know. But you'll read some bios, I maybe not those specifically, but others where it really talks all about, you have a Nobel Prize winner, and it's all about what they did and how they won the award and everything. But that may be only a tiny piece of not only their career, but of their whole life. And people forget to write about their childhood and their marriage and their family. And that's what makes supposed to make us different from, say, with Wikipedia, is that you can go to Wikipedia and read all about their Nobel Prize. We want to know about their family. We want to know, you know, where they grew up and what they did. And so that's why I really enjoy doing the surrounding family members, the brothers and sisters, and the parents and the grandparents. And you know, I love looking at the census record when they were a child and who was in the household.
Yes.
And look, they were living with grandma, not mom and dad. Well, what happened to mom and dad? And you know, that kind of stuff. That and there's a lot of times where I'll find myself writing something in a biography that I don't see anywhere else in a written biography. You know, that comes from the records, because that's not what those other sites, those non-genealogical sites, focus on.
Yep. Yep. Well, as always, David, you're full of very helpful information, educational information. Keep that teaching hat on.
We'll do that.
You wear it well. You wear it well.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's been a pleasure learning more. Now, for those of you that are listening now or in the future, if you're interested in doing some additional research on the Nobel winners, the laureates, we can always use your help with researching, especially in those various states like Australia. And I tried to display it, but for some reason when I was presenting, it wouldn't show. But there's several different countries that have folks. We've got about 430 members listed, or people listed associated with that category of Nobel laureate. And I'm sure there's a lot more out there. And there's also the list of the individuals that are unconnected. You'll see that as a page 2 item there. Thank you. Yeah, so there's unconnected Nobel laureates there. So a long list of folks that we could use your help on getting those people connected. And again, thanks, David.
There are 1,026 recipients so far.
Yeah.
So they're not all on WikiTree yet. There's a number that do not have profiles. So
yeah,
if you want creating the profile, you can do that from scratch on any of them.
Yeah. So there's a lot. Some have branch sizes in the double digits. Some mostly are in the single digits.
Right.
So we can always use more research on those folks. And thanks again, David, for coming.
Yeah, well, let me make one more comment too. Is some
Certainly.
of the information is actually out there fairly easily. It's just they intimidate people. The profile does, so people aren't looking at them. But I found that just this week. I've gone in and found some that have, you know, 1 or 2 CC7, and their whole tree is available out there with sources. It's just nobody, you know, they see Thailand or whatever country it is, and they don't bother to do the research because I don't know Thailand, you know, skills. But the information on a lot of these is actually readily available. We just have to get somebody that takes the initiative to go find it.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks
Thank
again.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, well, now that you've done your work for the day, Denise, it's time for us to celebrate you as the week. So, Betsy and I are going to take turns asking you questions. But first of all, congratulations! We're very happy. We're very excited to see that you were honored this week.
I was surprised to be honored. I've been honored before, back in 2021 or something. So, yeah.
Well, you know, it's been an honor working with you ever since you officially joined as a regular co-host.
Thank you.
So it's been great having you here, and great getting to know you better, and happy that the rest of WikiTree gets to know you better as they hang out with us and you every week. So first of all, tell us, how did you become interested in genealogy?
Very interesting story. I'll take you back to 1977 when Alex Haley's Roots was aired on television.
Yes.
And my father and I watched that, and my father decided he needed to find out more about his people. His father died when he was 5 years old. So that whole side of the family he didn't know anything about. He knew where his father was born, which was Caddo Parish, Louisiana, same place as his mother, but that's about all he knew. When his father passed away, of course, he knew everything there is to know about his mother's side of the family, because we tend to always see the mother's side, but he never knew his father's side. He was a truck driver. He was a steel hauler. So that gave him the opportunity to visit state to state. He'd have his loads booked so that he'd travel through Caddo Parish, Louisiana. He'd always stop there at a truck stop right there on I-79. And in that truck stop, my dad was a very charismatic person. He'd talk to anybody, and he'd always ask them, you know, do you know any Hardins? Do you know any Hunters? And finally, he met a cousin in that truck stop that said, yeah, we're cousins.
Oh, nice.
and took him around to meet family right there in Caddo Parish. So whenever he came home, because typically every weekend he'd come back home, and he'd have pictures of people, and I just sat and listened and wondered, and it got to be more than I could remember. Mm-hmm. So I started acting as his secretary and documenting the family's names and who they were related to. And for me, that led to what I do now.
Wow, that's
amazing.
I love that story.
Yeah, so it's been pretty interesting, because actually in Ancestry, that's one of my largest trees. I think I mentioned I still have about 28,000 people left to add to WikiTree, and they're all part of that branch from his work initially going down to Caddo Parish. So yeah, periodically I get to add folks, but most of the time I'm doing other stuff on WikiTree and not adding my own family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can you tell us more about your role in the U.S. Black Heritage Project?
I joined WikiTree in 2020, and then in 2021, Emma Macbeth asked me if I'd be interested in being a co-leader for the U.S. Black Heritage Project. And okay, so I said, okay, sure. You know, my background is in project management. I said, how hard can this be? Yeah, I'm retired. Sure, I've got time to do this. So pretty much now we're just trying to keep things rolling. You know, we've got a lot of different projects going on. There's the 1880 project, where folks are creating profiles for all of the African Americans that are in the 1880 census. Right. I personally took on a team leadership role for the African American cemeteries. So I'm primarily responsible for that. And we've got a great team, again, working on that. As a result, a spinoff from the cemeteries, I'm now expanding that to the African American churches, because a lot of the Black cemeteries were affiliated with the churches in the community. So we're starting to kick that off and doing outreach to some of the churches and getting their history and trying to get that documented on WikiTree. And that's a little slow going, because, you know, church folks are a little apprehensive. But I think if we get the right connections and the right influences, we'll be able to make that happen. And then along with that, obviously, funeral homes, because back in the day, the African American funeral homes were the ones that would handle the burials of the African Americans. Mm-hmm. So all of those come together, and that makes me a community team leader. Mm-hmm. So it's expanding instead of getting smaller.
Well, I mean, once people realize Hey, Denise is really talented. She's got some skills.
Yeah.
I don't. It's not me. It's everybody that's assisting with all of that and coming up with the ideas. And
Yeah.
we've got the organizations that fall under that community as well. The African American organizations. Everybody's talked about HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities,
Yep.
and then of course there's all kinds of other organizations that are African American based. So we're just trying to get all that information into WikiTree and make it a great database.
That's wonderful.
Excellent. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So Vicki, who can't be here this week and apologizes for that, but definitely wanted to celebrate you. She has one last question that she wants us to ask you. And after you just detailed all the different things that you do for the Black Heritage Project, what inspires you to give so much of yourself to WikiTree?
My children, actually. Them and my nieces and nephews, they're always asking me because they get these assignments in school. Auntie, can you help me with this? And can you help me with that? And I try to explain to them that it's more than just looking at somebody's obituary and seeing brief highlights of their life. There's more to a person than what you see in the dash when you see the born date and the end date. And I want to be able to provide the biographies, just like David was talking about. What is it about that person? They've had an entire life. What did they do during that life? What was their life like? How did they live? How did they survive during all those years? So that's pretty much what inspires me is the young folks. I'm doing this for them because I believe when WikiTree says they'll be here forever and they'll be free forever, I believe that. And I want the kids to be able to go out and find information about anyone that they're interested in and to get that historical information. So I'm not a teacher, but I've got a lot of them in my family as well. And just knowledge is power. And the more they know about their family or even other folks, it doesn't even have to be in their family. They can come to WikiTree and they can look up that information, and it'll at least give them a start and give them other resources to go to find that information.
Great. Well, thank you very much for sharing, and congratulations again, Denise.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Fantastic. So Vicki, as I mentioned, can't be here this week, but she did want us to pass on that the profile makeovers will be shown again next week. And she's got a bunch of those. She teased us last week, but she said she had a bunch of them already. So
yeah.
So she'll have nice. So, and we got lots of people cheering for you here, Denise.
Thank you, Anne.
Yeah, no problem. So let us move on to the profiles of the week and the connection checkers game. And no surprise, it is Nobel Prize. Nobel Prize, just as David mentioned. So we have a number, 12 profiles, all connected with the Nobel Prize. And we will start with Mr. Nobel. Well, first, let's look at the table. So remember last week's table, it was all very closely connected, like 2s, 3s, and 4s for some of them. Not, as David mentioned, the Nobel Prize are very global, so not surprising. They're quite a bit further apart. In most cases here, 15 it looks like might be the closest one. Oh, there's a 12. There's a 12 between. Now that's interesting. 12 degrees, only 12 degrees separates Reyes Basalto from Eindhoven. So that's a very interesting connection. Latin America and the Dutch Nobel Prize winner. So let's just first rabbit hole of the profile makeover. Profile. Willem Eindhoven to Ricardo Reyes Basalto. So we go from, let's look at the alternative view. So his grandmother's sister's husband, and across a few marriages, and then sister, and then we go. Interesting. Now, I wish this view also showed locations, because then we could see what countries we were going through here. Right?
Yes, yeah.
So he's a Dutch citizen, but he was born in Indonesia. That is some French. That looks more Dutch again. Interesting. So, anyways, there's your first distraction. Anyways, let's go back to the person who started it all off, Alfred Bernhard Nobel, born in Jakob Johannes Stockholm Sverige in Sweden, and actually passed away in Italy, in San Remo, Imperia, Liguria, Italy, at the age of 63. So, of course, he's the one who, when he passed away, his fortune, he donated a huge chunk of that to establishing the Nobel Prize. But of course, he was never a Nobel Prize winner. He was just the originator of it. Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, so he's a Swedish inventor, has 355 different patents, of which dynamite is in fact the most famous. And that's where he made his money, in dynamite. But he was also an engineer, a businessman, and a philanthropist. So he bequeathed his fortune to fund the Nobel Prize institution. Mm-hmm. But so how did he start out? So he started he was born 1833 in Jakob Johannes parish in Stockholm, son of Emanuel Nobel and Carolina Altzel. Lived with his parents in Stockholm. Then he had, of course, a keen interest in engineering. His father also had moved to St. Petersburg, actually, where he also was a successful manufacturer of machine tools and explosives. So obviously, he was keen on that. His scientific interest paid dividends. He began to invent marketable products. Plywood was one of his patents, one of the things he discovered or marketed. And of course, lucrative enterprise, inventing and patenting dynamite. Now, I'm sure we have done his profile before, because the whole, all of this is very familiar to me. He set up a manufacturing plant and established the huge factory, but it was out on a jetty and they built an actual a railway line to get to the place. So there was 2 trains running each day to bring workers in and out of that place. And we talked about this before on one of our roundups. I remember doing that. And unfortunately, that line no longer exists, but there is apparently the train platform still remains, but it's hidden beneath some dense undergrowth. That's kind of interesting. Then after all his work and the money that he accrued in the dynamite explosive business, he did not want to be remembered as a death dealer, because obviously that's there were other uses for dynamite, not just manufacturing, construction, that his invention went to. So he decided that in his will he wanted to have his name sort of change the focus, and he set aside a considerable fortune for prizes in physical science, chemistry, medical science, or physiology, literary work in an ideal direction, and to a person or society that renders the greatest service to the cause of international fraternity in the suppression or reduction of standing armies, or in the establishment of furtherance of peace congresses. And luckily, that whole phrase is not put on the Peace Prize, because you'd never get it.
Or it would have to be like five point.
Yeah, 5 point. That's right. Or we just call it the Nobel Peace Prize. That's to sum it up. So there we have it. And that's his grave in Begravningsplatsen. So there we have the origin. Now, kind of neat little background there with the. So there's the category that we were talking about, the Nobel laureates, and yeah, there is. Is it Amanda or Melanie who was asking about whether there was Australians, and there is actually an Australian category. So there we go. So Ralph Johnson Bunch is the first of the Nobel Prize winners that we're going to be talking about. And he is part of U.S. Black history, a political scientist, an academic, and a diplomat. And he was the first African American who was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Born in 1903 or 4 in Detroit, Michigan, son of Frederick and Olive Johnson Bunch. They lived in Toledo, Ohio. His father was a barber. His mother was an amateur pianist, a musician, Betsy. Unfortunately, his parents both passed away when they were young, and so they grew up with his maternal grandmother, Lucy Taylor Johnson. They were in Los Angeles at the time. His grandmother had been born into slavery and had lived with the Bunches throughout his childhood. He had a number of different jobs: office boy at the dye works, lots of other odd jobs. Went to high school in LA, attended University of Southern California, Harvard University. He became involved in civil rights from an early age. He worked with Martin Luther King Jr. That's pretty cool. Supported the NAACP, aided U.S. presidents in their minorities policy. His position in some was that racial inequality made no scientific sense. You couldn't use that as an excuse for it. And that segregation and democracy were incompatible. You couldn't have. Two just didn't make sense together. In his words, democracy is colorblind. He did marry Ruth Ethel Harris in 1930 in the District of Columbia, and they had 3 kids together. He received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1950 for his peacekeeping efforts in Israel in the late 40s, and the first African American to receive that prize. He was forced to retire in October of 1971 due to health concerns, and sadly passed away just 2 months later in December. Ralph. Excellent. Maria Salomea Sklodowska, who became Marie Curie, is the next one. And it was funny. David mentioned one of the things I was going to mention about Marie Curie already, about the family connection. But she was a Polish-French physicist, of course, and chemist, conducted pioneering research on radioactivity. In addition to being the first woman to win a Nobel Prize and the only woman to win in 2 different fields. She's the only person who has won the award in multiple sciences. That's interesting too. Marie, whose nickname was Mania, was the daughter of Władysław Sklodowski, and a Polish math and physics teacher, another teacher, and his wife, Bronisława Boguska. Youngest of five children. Her Zosia, Joseph, Bronislava, who went by the name Bronya, and Ela, or Helena. Interesting. So her start in life is neat because she and her sister Bronya, they both wanted to study abroad and to earn degrees, but of course that was difficult and costly. They didn't have the money to do that, so they made a pact. So Marie worked to support Bronya's studies, and then when Bronya graduated, she would help Marie when she finished her own education, and that's what they did. So Marie,
that's great.
Isn't that great? So Marie worked as a tutor and a governess to help fund Bronya's studying, and in her free time, I don't imagine there would be a lot of free time, but she did spend her free time studying physics, chemistry, and math. And then when she was finally able to enroll, she went to the Sorbonne in Paris, got a master's degree in physics, and then a master's degree, and then a degree in mathematics later. In 94. And the same year that she got her degree in math, she met Pierre Curie, who was also a physicist, and they became research partners and partners in life. He became her husband. One of the best, the collaboration was the most extraordinary scientific partnership, one of the most extraordinary partnerships in history. Their daughter Irene was born in 1997, and their daughter Eve was born in December 1904. The little accent, the backwards accent there above the E means you pronounce it like with an eh sound. That's why it's Irene and Eve, not Irene and Eve. Just thought I'd throw that in.
That's good to know. Good information.
As opposed to Frédéric, the accent going the other way sounds more like an A sound. So here's the interesting thing. So Marie Curie and her husband Pierre, they both won Nobel Prizes for in chemistry for the discovery of induced radioactivity. Their daughter Irene also won a Nobel Prize, and where does it say here? No, she won a prize in the Nobel Prize in 1935. That was the induced radioactivity that she won. Eve did not win one, but her husband did win one. Her husband, Henry Richardson, collected the Nobel Peace Prize on behalf of UNICEF. So there we go. So mother, father, one daughter, and one son-in-law. There we go. 4 Nobel Prizes in the immediate families. So they just, the pair of them, Marie and Pierre, they discovered polonium. They discovered like a new element. And then, of course, discovering the element in the periodic table, they got to name it. So they named it polonium because Marie came from Poland. So they named it in that honor. Now, they also discovered radium, which, of course, is what they used and what she's most famous for, the discovery of radium. And they were doing all this research, with radioactivity, not realizing, of course, how dangerous that was. And then it says Pierre's untimely death in 1906. So I thought, oh no, was that radioactive poisoning? Turns out it wasn't. He didn't die of radioactive poisoning. He was killed in a car accident.
Wow.
Yeah, he was crossing the street and he tripped
Oh,
down the road and then was
Wow.
very sad. He died instantly, so at least there's something about that. He didn't suffer in pain, but still very sad.
Mm-hmm.
So she had to continue her research alone. Being
it
the
was
first
two
female.
little children. Her children were very small.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they would have been, under 10 at that point. But she continued as she was the first female professor at the University of Paris, and she deepened her investigation into radium, and that's where she earned a second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry. She was also involved in World War I, developing mobile X-ray units, little Curies, they were called. So that's kind of neat, named after her. And then there she did die from leukemia that was caused by radiation. So in 1934.
Yeah, interesting tidbit there. Her coffin is lined with lead in order to keep the radiation from escaping into the atmosphere.
Isn't that interesting?
Wow. Yeah.
I didn't notice. Is that in here?
I don't know if it's in the biography, but
It's not. I don't see it. That's an interesting tidbit there.
Yeah. Another fun fact from David. I'm
Another
telling
fun fact from David.
I don't know if it's a fun fact, but it's
an
interesting fact.
An interesting fact.
But it makes me wonder, and I don't know if they ever had any way of researching it, but how many people did she come into contact with while she was alive?
Right.
And I'd be curious to know how many of them got any kind of sickness or anything from being around her. But,
right.
Assuming that's the case, but
right.
Just interesting because they didn't know back then.
Yeah.
They didn't know about protective measures and stuff.
Yeah.
No.
I'm just curious what they talked about at the dinner table every night. What kind of discussions? Should we call this palladium? Should we?
That's right. Wow. Now, the other thing that was mentioned here is that in 1995, they were actually removed from the original cemetery that Marie and Pierre were buried in, and then buried in the Pantheon in Paris, which is quite an honor for just a few. So that's interesting. Okay, moving on. Robert Jeffrey Edwards. born 27th September 1925 in Batley, West Yorkshire, England. Passed away just 12 years ago, April 2013 in Cambridge. And his Nobel Prize was for physiology or medicine for the development of in vitro fertilization. He was the English physiologist and pioneer in reproductive medicine, in vitro fertilization, and his work, along with the surgeon Patrick Steptoe and the embryologist Jean Purdy, resulted in the successful conception and eventual birth of Louise Brown, the first baby born from in vitro fertilization. And that was way back in July of 1978. Wow. I remember when that came out, when that happened. I mean, I was still in, what was that? I just finished grade 8. But I remember making the headlines, reading the newspaper. And they founded the first IVF program for infertile patients and trained other scientists in their techniques. And now, of course, it's much more prevalent. Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. Died in 2013. Wilhelm Einthoven, born in Semarang, which was in Java's an island, right? The island of Java?
Yes, Indonesia.
In Indonesia, yeah. Nederlandisch India, or now known, now Indonesia, but it was the Dutch Indies at the time, right? And then passed away in Leiden in Zuid-Holland, Netherlands. So, he was a Dutch doctor, physiologist. He invented the ECG, the electrocardiogram, which is either an ECG or an EKG, but they both mean the same thing. And if it's the K, it's because of it in German, or probably in Dutch, you would write the cardio part as with a K, right? So we have a link here. Now, the interesting thing about this profile was I had never been to this website before. If you click on this, you go to a website, which is the IPA reader.
Oh, so you know how to pronounce things.
So you know how to pronounce things.
Yeah.
So if you're online and you see this type of weird script, that's to help you pronounce words the way they're meant, because each symbol represents a specific sound. And if you write it out like this phonetically, then you can actually pronounce it, and you can people from all over the world will know how it's supposed to pronounce.
Right.
So this pronunciation was actually put together by T.L. Koneline, Tommy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Thomas, who's helped us with lots of different challenges. So it's kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I'll just click Einthoven. Now, I also went online to find, just to verify, to see other ones, and apparently it's Einthoven is how
I keep
other
thinking like Beethoven.
Einthoven. Yeah. So Wilhelm van Einthoven was born in Java in the Dutch Indies, now known as Indonesia. His father was an army physician. Oh, this is the other profile I was saying that had some spelling issues, because physician should be PHY, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
But they're consistent, at least. Physician comes up again spelled that way. So, and it's understandable. Anyways, minor detail. Easy to read the word, anyways, no problem. But someone should fix it. Anyways, his mother and his mother Louise de Vogel went to school in Utrecht. Got married his first cousin in 1886. They had 4 kids together. Before his time, people already knew that the heart beating produced little electrical currents, but there was no way to measure it without placing electrodes on the heart, which wasn't really practical back then. So he made a prototype, made a huge machine. The machine he made, the very first one. So think of this: for an electrocardiogram, right? They put the electrodes on, right? So now it's not a big deal, to get that. But the very first machine that he created did it 270 kilograms, and massive. It needed 5 people to make it work. So
Wow.
that really is how inventions work, right? You start with something that's massive, and then you think, okay, let's see if we can make it a little better. We can make some better design decisions and whatnot. That's kind of cool. But anyways, he was able to publish the results, including ways of now that we've got this graph, how we can interpret that. And the same principles are used today in interpreting graphs, interpreting ECGs. So he received his Nobel Prize in 1924 for that, making the first workable ECG machine. And then passed away just 3 years later after receiving the prize in 1927. We have...
Right.
Yes?
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
When you were mentioning the spelling errors, I'm always surprised how many members don't realize this, but even on a notable profile like this, any member can go in and edit it.
Oh, yes.
The rules for notables are the same as any other profile. So particularly small errors like spelling errors and things like that. But you can go in and add paragraphs and new details. Again, the rules are no different for a notable profile than they are for any other. If it's a well-done profile like some of these, you probably want to check with the profile manager if you're going to be making major changes. It's, again, just like you would with any other profile. But if you see a piece of information is missing, you've got a document or a source that you want to add, you're free to go in and I take it. We get, excuse me, and notables, we get emails almost every day informing us of spelling errors or, missing information and why, somebody will send us a link to the father or the mother and ask us to attach it when they could just attach it themselves. So there's a misconception, I think, that if they see, well, this is an important profile, I better not touch it. And, if you've got something to add and improve, that's the way they get done.
So just like this, like I'm doing right now?
Yes, like that, yeah.
Because the notables team is basically me and Scott Fulkerson. We've got 10,000 plus profiles. We're not going in and checking them all for spelling errors. So we need the membership to go in and take care of those things.
Yeah. So anyone can do that. And make sure you put your explanation in. And there we go. Now we've fixed it. And that was just changing that was just changing spelling. So that something simple like that, or changing a little grammar error, fixing that doesn't necessarily require the permission of the profile manager.
Right. And again, we get emails all the time saying, well, there's a misspelled word on that page.
Well, then fix it.
Correct it.
Yeah, that's great. So thank you for mentioning that, because I can see people be nervous about doing that. And I've done that before. I've seen typos and I thought, should I do that? And then eventually I just thought, what the heck, I'm going to do it. Otherwise it'll drive me crazy. Anyways, next we have Gabriel José de la Concordia Garcia Marquez, who was born in Colombia, Arataca in Magdalena, Colombia, in 1927. Passed away at the age of 87 in 2014 in Mexico City. Of course, he was most widely regarded as one of the most significant authors of the 20th century, Colombian writer and journalist. He got the Premio Nobel de Literatura, autor de 100 años de soledad. So Nobel Prize for Literature, and he was the author of the book, which was originally titled in Spanish, 100 años de soledad, or 100 years of solitude. It's a translation for that. Raised by his maternal grandparents. So again, as David mentioned, what's the story there? Why was he raised by his maternal grandparents? Where were his parents? We don't know quite yet. But the grandparents, their stories and superstitions deeply influenced his writing. Studied law, but abandoned it for journalism. Yeah, I could see that would be more exciting. Working in various Latin American and European cities. Outspoken political views, particularly his criticism of U.S. imperialism, shaped his career in relationships including, this is interesting, a complex friendship with Fidel Castro.
Hmm.
I wonder what there must be a story behind that as well. Had 2 sons with Mercedes Barcha. Sadly, and later he suffered from dementia and then passed away in Mexico City. He had a nickname, Gabo or Gabito, in his native country and throughout Latin America. I'd never heard him referred to as that, but maybe that's just a local thing. Anyways, got his Nobel Prize, was awarded in 1982. It was awarded. The book 100 Years of Solitude came out in 1967. And then 2 other famous ones, Chronicle of Death Foretold, and then Love in the Time of Cholera is another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The most translated Spanish language author of all time. Impressive. Died in 87 from pneumonia. Just look at that smile. He was obviously a very gregarious.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. Yeah. Charles Brenton Huggins, a medical doctor from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Or Canadian content for this week. Distant cousin. Canadian doctor who pursued a career in physiology and cancer research, specialized in prostate cancer. He won the Nobel Prize in 1966 for physiology or medicine, and for discovering that his discovery, like this was 25 years earlier, in 1941, that some hormones could actually be used to control the spread of cancer, some cancers. Huge discovery. And then, so he was born in Canada, in Nova Scotia, moved to the States and worked there. But then he eventually did come back to Canada and Nova Scotia, and he serves as the chancellor of the university, Acadia University, which was in Wolfville. His father died in 1912, having caught scarlet fever after nursing his young sons through the same illness. So that's sad, eh? He helped his sons get better, and then he caught the disease himself, which his mother remarried in 1916, but she died in 1919, then encephalitis. So that's kind of a sad beginning. But then, of course, he had an accomplished medical research career, focusing on cancers, and then, of course, the discovery that netted him the Nobel Prize. Robert Heinrich Hermann Koch, who was born in 1843 in Hanover, Deutsches Bund, and passed away at the age of 66 in 1910 in Baden-Baden, Deutsches Reich, Germany, of course, part of the Germany project. And the first biography is in Deutsch, which I'm not going to read to you, but we'll skip down to the English translation, or the English version. He was one of 13 children, 11 of them who survived, third in the line there. His family worked in the mining industry. He switched to medicine when he went to school, university anyways. He won an award, doctor's degree, then spent some, afterwards he visited some weeks in hospital in Berlin and got a state exam in Hanover. After several jobs in Prussian towns, he volunteered as a paramedic in the Franco-Prussian War. He started to work in Wolfenstein. And he eventually proved that anthrax is triggered only by one germ. So he basically discovered what causes anthrax. He also showed that microorganisms can trigger diseases. That's a huge revelation, right? He did his research about wound infections and publishes his great work here, Untersuchungen über die Etiologie der Wundinfektionskrankheiten, or something similar to that.
Whatever you say, Greg.
Wundinfektionskrankheiten. Just love these huge, long German words, right? Which is basically researches about the causes of wound infection diseases. There we go. anyways, he continued his work, and he was able to diagnose tuberculosis. And he tried to come up with a cure, a vaccine for tuberculosis, and he called it tuberculin. But unfortunately, the vaccine wasn't fully. It didn't actually fully cure tuberculosis, but it was able to diagnose with that tuberculosis was present.
Mm-hmm.
Went on to the Royal Prussian Institute. The British government was sending him all over the place. He was doing research in malaria and other things. He got the Nobel Prize in 1905 for the discovery of the tuberculosis trigger. And then, sadly, 5 years later, he suffered a heart attack, went to Baden-Baden for a cure. But in that was in April, he went to Baden-Baden for a cure. May 27th, 1910, he was found dead in front of his balcony door.
Mm.
Sad. And then there's about his marriage. Married twice. Many siblings emigrated mainly to Mexico and the USA, and also an uncle of his went to the USA to live there as a missionary. Then we have Chloe Ardelia Wolford, whose name you might not be familiar with. You might be more familiar with the pen name she used, Toni Morrison, American novelist, part of the Black Heritage Project, Nobel Prize in Literature in 1993, and a Pulitzer Prize winner as well for her novel Beloved, that was published in 1987, and a Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2012, among many other awards. She was the second of 4 children to George Wolford, who was a steel worker, and his wife, Ella Willis. I love this. Growing up in Lorraine, my parents made all of us feel as though there were these rather extraordinary, deserving people within us. I felt like an aristocrat, or what I think an aristocrat is. I always knew we were very poor, but that was never degrading. I remember a very important lesson that my father gave me when I was 12 or 13. He said, "You know, today I welded a perfect seam and I signed my name to it." And I said, "But Daddy, no one's going to see it." And he said, "Yeah, but I know it's there."
Yeah, powerful.
It is powerful. That lesson, you do your best in everything you do, whether people know it, recognize it, or will never see it. The satisfaction is knowing that you've done a job well done. So how did she go from Chloe Ardelia to Toni Morrison? She, at the age of 12, she became a Catholic and took the baptismal name of Anthony after St. Anthony.
Oh.
That led to her nickname of Toni that she used in her professional life. She graduated from Howard University with a BA in English, Masters of Arts from Cornell University. She met Harold Morrison, a Jamaican architect, who she married in 1958. And she was pregnant with their second son when they divorced in 1964. And so she raised 2 sons. Is it 2 sons? Yeah. As a single parent. Not easy. But another quote from her, whenever I thought about when things got difficult, I thought about my mother's mother, who was a sharecropper with her husband owed money to the landlord, and she escaped with 7 children to meet her husband in Birmingham, where he was working as a musician. A dangerous trip, but she wanted a better life for herself and her family. Whenever things got difficult for me in New York, I just thought I wasn't doing anything nearly as hard as what she did. That perspective has helped her through. 11 novels, 9 nonfiction works, 5 children's books, 2 short stories, and 2 plays for 88 years of life.
Yeah, her book Beloved was made into a movie.
Oh, yes.
Yes, with Oprah Winfrey.
Ah, okay.
Beloved.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think I've seen that one. I'm going to have to add that to the list. Linus Carl Pauling, born in 1901 in Portland, Oregon, passed away at the age of 93 in 1994 in Big Sur, California. Chemist, biochemist, peace activist, author, and educator. One of the most influential chemists in history and ranks among the most important scientists of the 20th century. He was one of the founders of the fields of quantum chemistry and molecular biology. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1954. And then in 1962, for his peace activism, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, and the only person to be awarded 2 unshared Nobel Prizes. So
I actually have a personal connection to Linus Pauling.
okay.
He was one of my visiting professors when I was in college.
No way.
That's neat.
It was a short lecture class that he gave, but it was during the Cold War, and he came in and talked about his activism and what was going on between Russia and the U.S. at the time.
Wow.
I had no idea how important of a man he was at the time. He was just another professor to me, but
that's neat. Very cool. Very cool. He died of prostate cancer, sadly, in 1994. Very cool.
He's the one that can use an extension on his biography.
Yeah. So it's a pretty short bio there. Yeah. So, yeah. Very cool. So, is this what he looked like when he came as a professor?
He was in his 80s at the time, so he was a bit older, but it definitely, he was kind of a comedic character.
Well, he has sort of a goofy kind of face or expression there.
It definitely shows his personality in the picture there.
Yeah, looks like he would get up to a practical joke, perhaps.
Yeah, that was him.
Neat. That's very cool. It's neat when we have these connections. Now, I'm sorry that Vicky's not able to be here today because I know she wanted to be here because we have a notable from Chile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ricardo Eliezer Neftali Reyes Basoalto. And my apologies, Vicky, for mispronouncing that, but that's the best I can do. Ricardo Eliezer Neftali Reyes Basoalto was born on the 12th of July, 1904. In Parral, Linares, Chile. He was the son of Jose del Carmen Reyes Morales, a railway employee, and Rosa Neftali Basoalto, who was a school teacher, another teacher. Sadly, his mother died when he was just 2 months old. But he was an author, and he wrote under the name of Pablo Neruda. He chose that name in memory of Czechoslovak poet Jan Neruda. And then Pablo won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1971. He married Marica Antonieta Reyes Hagenaar, who was a Dutch bank employee. And they were divorced. Oh, there we go. His wife was Dutch. That's the close connection to Wilhelm.
Yes, going back to the beginning.
Yeah, we're thinking, how is a Dutch person in Indonesia
12 degrees, yeah.
There we go.
And that's what we were talking about in the beginning when we're doing research on these people from Chile's not that obscure, but some of the more obscure countries. You find that that relative that either married the Dutch person or the German person or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's your breakthrough.
There you're right. Yeah. Now it was the Nobel Prize for Literature. It doesn't say which book he won for, but he died in 1973 at the Santa Maria Clinic in Santiago. And this is interesting. It is generally thought that while he was in the hospital for treatment for prostate cancer, and on the orders of General Augusto Pinochet, that he was injected with something, probably a bacterium, that caused his death 6.5 hours later. Interesting. Now, it's not outright accusing, but just generally thought. So
yeah. And why would a general get so involved unless the general was related to one of his other 2 wives?
Well, he was known as a dictator, was he not?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
And he was an author, and if he was outright, like if he was critical, maybe of the politics, yeah. I noticed he has a sticker here for the Nobel Prize, and some, but not all the other ones do.
Right.
Is that something that should be added to Nobel Prize winners, David?
Yeah, I think it's just a matter that some of these profiles are very old,
Right.
so they may not have had a
Sticker's
sticker,
newer,
and then
probably.
sometimes people just don't know that the sticker's available.
Yeah. Now, it was some stickers. Sorry, we'll do again, another rabbit hole. Let's see, where's some stickers here? There was some stickers have additional information, right? I can't find one that has additional information.
Yeah, it just depends on how the sticker's designed.
Is it? Can you say, like, could it say what they were awarded? Can the Nobel Prize one say that it was in literature or something like that?
You know how you can tell is if you go to the edit page and look at the template
Code. Yeah.
You can see. I'm guessing there isn't a line.
Right. There's the sticker.
Yeah. So
what if I do
the
this?
sticker doesn't give you the additional option, does it? Oh no.
I'm just making up what the syntax might be. Let's see what happens. Nope, that messes it up.
Nope, it doesn't include it at all. It doesn't put anything there.
Not there. But what if I go to, go
to Toni Morrison's. She didn't have a sticker.
Oh,
right.
Okay, let's get out of this. Leave.
I was going to do it afterwards. But
you're going to do it afterwards. Well, let's do it now. Where's she? Right here. I'm going in edit mode. Rabbit hole number. What number of rabbit hole are we down now?
I think only 2.
Only 2. Okay. Is this where I add stickers?
Well, you don't have the template.
Oh, I don't have the template?
Did you grab it when you were on?
No, but there's a where site?
Yeah, you don't have the templates thing where you can click on template and add sticker.
Oh, why don't I?
I don't know. Do you have the B?
I do have.
You could probably just put in Nobel Prize.
Do your 2 squigglies.
Oh yeah, I mean, right, okay. In here? Wait a second. And now go here.
I think it's Nobel Prize sticker.
Oh.
You have to put the word sticker.
Oh, right. Okay.
And capitalized.
Word. Sorry, folks. This is not nearly as exciting. I'm sorry about that.
But it will be very satisfying.
Yeah.
Well,
nope, that's still not the right one. Okay.
Let's go back. Let's go back and check. Let's check what the we'll just copy it from here. Where you go? Oh, wait a second. Holy moly, someone has
What?
prize. That's not the one. Who was it you were on? Oh, has someone changed it? It didn't look like this before.
Metal image. Oh, okay. Is that it? No, keep scrolling down. Is that it? Yeah, that's it.
That's it. It did not look like that before, did it?
Well, I don't remember what it looked like before. But.
Okay.
So Azure is putting some helpful links.
Okay.
And she says it's the metal sticker. There isn't a Nobel sticker.
It's a metal. Okay.
Okay then. Okay. The Nobel Prize sticker.
Thank you, Asher.
Metal sticker. Thanks, Azure. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see it. We got to see it.
Let's see it. Dun, da, da, da.
Yay.
Yay. Okay.
So the modification was adding the Nobel Prize to the medals.
Making it a metal sticker instead of a.
Right.
Now, see, this is the kind of, if somebody needs busy work, you're watching TV and you need something to do, we got 1,000 Nobel Prize winners that need stickers.
Yeah.
And the notables team isn't doing it, right? So
Right.
Right. Asher said you can always go to the template page to see all the parameters for a sticker.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, last notable. Oh my goodness. John Williams Strutt. PCJP, Justice of the Peace, and what was it? Privy Councillor. Privy Councillor. So he was a member of the English aristocracy, born in 1842 in Essex, England, died in 1919 at the age of 76, again in Essex. He was the third Baron Rayleigh of Turling Place, son of John James, who was the second Baron of Rayleigh of Turling Place. Educated at Eton College, married in 1871. He was an author, wrote the book Treatise on the Theory of Sound, which was published in 2 volumes. And he studied the duplex theory of human sound localization using 2 binaural cues. Very interesting stuff. He was awarded with the Nobel Prize for Physics for his work in that. And what was their description here? Nobel Prize for Physics, but also actually for his not for his work in sound, but for the density of important gases. He discovered argon and did some work with the physics in that regard. So there we go. And then he had lots of censuses added to his. So there we go. That's the last profile of the week. You got a little bit of short shrift. Sorry about that.
Yeah, good job, Greg.
Yes.
Oh well, we got there. We got there eventually. Let's see. Now I hadn't already pulled up the. It's too many. WikiTree down to social media. What's happening this week? Lots of stuff's happening this week. Coming up, we have there'll be a question of the week Monday. McCormack will be the one name studies. We'll have a new topic for connection checkers on Tuesday. We have Cubicle Party for the link builders on Tuesday as well. Please join that. Welburn Lodge, Welburn is the one place study. Or on Wednesday, there'll be a Discord party for the U.S. Civil War. Discord party, that'll be fun. We'll have our final Thursday Hacktoberfest live stream will be on Thursday at 1 o'clock, unless something changes, but 1 o'clock is when we've got it scheduled for now. And then, of course, the Hall of Fame will come out on Friday, meet our members, and we'll be back next Saturday. There was a number of things that I starred that we should talk about. Let's see. Of course, if you haven't already registered for WikiTree Week or the symposium, please do that. You'll win prizes. It's free to attend. It's free. It doesn't cost anything to attend all the different things that are happening during WikiTree Week. But if you do register, then you're eligible for some prizes during the draws.
Yeah, tell your friends, post it on all your social media, wherever you are, Facebook, Instagram, X, wherever, post it.
Yeah, please share.
Yeah, you'll learn lots and have fun.
And you don't have to be a WikiTree member to attend. You can gain some knowledge from all your guest speakers that we have the week after next. So
that's right. Yeah. And we're getting ready for the next WikiTree challenge. So people can sign up now. Tamara Stansfield is going to be our special guest from Family Search, I think. So sign up for that as well. And that is the end of our live cast for today. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Thanks to our special guest, David. And once again, congratulations, Denise.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Excellent. Have a great day, everyone. See you later.
Thanks, David.
Bye. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.